Good morning, guys. It's a very crazy political week here in America, and there's a lot of emotions and feelings, and a lot of things that people are confused about in terms of uh, why certain people think the way they do, as well as specifically women. And I try to stay away from politics because it's just not my wheelhouse. I'm just not that interested enough to actually have a given accurate breakdown of whatever I'm seeing. I leave that to other people, sure. But there are times when there is some merit or there is some usefulness in discussing what's going on politically with intersectional dynamics, because a lot of what we're seeing right now is due to the fact that all politics are gendered. All politics are gendered, and it's so for some people they don't want to believe it because they want this to be a not a man versus women issue. And I get it, right? The whole fake gender war stuff is exhausting. Everything has to be viewed through the lens of man versus women, or man and man better than women, women better than man, men are like this, women like that. That gets exhausting. So I understand why a lot of people really don't want to use this lens to look at everything. But at the same time, it will save you time and energy and mental energy specifically if you understand and look at this from, hey, all politics are gendered kind of uh point. Now, I understand that in the past couple weeks there was like a man was shot recently as well. So you must be thinking, well, is it gendered if men and women are both dying at the hands of ICE? And is it gendered if there are women that kind of say, hey, I don't want anyone to die, blah, blah, blah. And the truth is, remember, the social media first has to pass to an ego filter, right? Social media has to pass when your avatar is when you have an avatar online with your name and there is some stakes to what you say, everything has to go through a filter before it's typed out and shown. Sometimes, and most of the time, it's an ego filter or the need to be accepted or the need to make money, because if you don't say the thing, then your employees don't get paid or you don't get paid or your business or your brand fails. So is it really reliable? However, there are some things that we can rely on, and it's when people or accounts say things that seem outside of their kind of like normal programming or what they usually post. And a lot of people are like scratching their heads like, wait. And right now what we see the most, right, is um women kind of like political accounts on X saying, hey, like, I just don't like ice anymore, or ice makes me feel icky now, blah, blah, blah. Right. And one of the things a lot of guys are scratching their head is, or saying, hey, like women are actually defectors and they're meant to come here and subvert right wing discussion online. And the truth is it's a little simpler and less nefarious. It's just that women and men organize society in different ways, and women have empathy towards the downtrodden and towards the hurt, right? And have high expectations and ask things of the guys that seem to have it all or have all the resources. So in this instance, um, you'll see like a child, like the story of the child that just came out that got arrested and sent to jail, and everyone's like sees the picture of the child with like boogers on his nose, and even me as a human being, I'm like, poor kid. I hope they take care of that kid, right? Because I'm a human. um but at the same time, men understand that these things need to be done, right? If we wanted immigration to be controlled and we wanted to deport illegal immigrants, this has to be done. And we have to swallow our empathy and swallow our humanity sometimes and get this done. And did anyone ever think for a second that this was going to be an easy process, right? And that's what I always said. That was my prediction about these politics, was that it's not going to be easy. And I don't think America has a stomach for it. Even right wing people don't have the stomach for what's about to happen here. Because whenever you take away a free lunch from people, especially a free lunch that people are accustomed to having, right? Like living in America, that's almost like a free lunch compared to living in a foreign country. Taking that away from people, it's gonna be painful, right? Have you guys ever given money to someone or having a family member where they were given money regularly and you stopped giving them money? How did they act? They hated you. They said they became entitled almost. They wanted you to know that they deserved the money, and you have to give it to them. And is that unfair? Well, you've given them something, and you made it predictable that you were going to give it something. When they don't have it, they lash out. This is very common in relationships too, where women are treated, the whole, hey, gold diggers are made, not born. Well, men have accustomed women to receiving gifts for in return for nothing, right? So when she finally gets to you, she expects dinner and all that stuff, and it's not really her fault so much as every other man. That's what they lead with, so that's what she expects. And that's the same thing with on a grander scale with the third world stuff. It's just, hey, these immigrants are here, and taking their free lunch away that they're accustomed to getting, and all the help and all the government money, you take that away suddenly. It's gonna be a very painful process. It's incredibly painful, and it's not gonna be easy. So yeah. Good to see you, Nuke. As a British man, American politics is interesting. Yeah, it is interesting, and I try to stay away from it unless there's some red pill lesson here, and there is for this. But usually, I'm just like, hey, I think politics, for people that are not making content, I think it's a private thing. It's between me and my family members and my friends. It's not something where you just shout out. It's not worth it. It just makes you a target, and you could lose your job if you just blab too loud. Now, luckily, I work for a company that's pretty awesome, and also it's faceless, so they know how I look on the day I interviewed, but they probably forgot how I look like. So yeah. But anyways, guys, so that's why when women see this little boy, this 4-year-old kid with boogers in his nose and looks worried, that triggers an empathy response in women, and that's natural. And that's the part we hate as men. Like we want this to be we want this to be nefarious. We want this to be malicious, but it's not malicious, guys. It's just that women have biology, and everything they do has to be filtered and comes from their biology, right? They can be right wing bitch, that's the popular brand right now for right wing women, is to be a right wing popular bitch and be combative, and to say, "Oh, those liberal men are weak," blah, 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 and all these things, and even be mean towards men. It's almost like they're masculine almost because they're belligerent and very opinionated and have a lot of things to say. But if you guys look at some of the posts that we're seeing, right, and I might even bring some up for you guys. Um, some of the posts we're seeing, you see that women are just like, no, you know what? Never mind. ICE is mean. Well, I don't like the fact that um ICE is doing what it's doing, blah blah blah, right? And I'll bring up an example. Um Let me see if I can bring it up here. Let's see. Here we go. Make sure everything's on the screen. Okay. So here's an example, guys, of, let me get this comment off. Hey, how you doing, Alex? Matt Park, nice to see you. So here's, I don't know, this woman blocked me. I know she's run cover for RadFM. You know what? She's blocked me. I don't know why. It was a long time ago. But anyways, um, no one can accuse me of being sympathetic in any way towards illegal. See, this is the disclaimer. Like, I swear, guys, I'm still one of you. My track record is unblemished in that regard. So you see, guys, when women get into political spaces, it's not about changing anything. It's about they worry about themselves and their image. That's why they're here. They want to market themselves as these women that are smarter, more traditional, more marriage minded, whatever version of this. Uh, and like just one of the boys thinks like us, right? Um, Yet I find myself hating this adoration of ice just as much as I have been trying to consolidate these two things in my mind. Last night I realized it was exactly this. They have sub-zero aura. And that's what I'm saying. They quickly, whenever they see the ugly side of masculine order, of the way conservatism wants to organize society, which is order at all costs, which is punishing people that do wrong, no empathy. You either follow the law or you don't. They can't handle that, right? And here's another thing about this stuff, right? Um, Here's another thing about this stuff, that whenever you see the images of ICE agents and the people they're arresting and all that. Like the images are powerful. They're strong images. They're not meant. And if you're weak in the stomach, they will mess with you, right? So they see these images and quickly they change their mind or say, hey, this is not the good thing. But we know as men that, hey, like violence is not going to be pretty, right? We just saw a video of a woman catch a flashbang and it popped in her hand and she lost her fingers. And women see that and they're like, wait, I think that we're going too far. I'm like, "No, we're not, this is exactly what it was supposed to be. Why do you think they have guns? Why do you think they have masks? It's because this is going to be ugly. This is going to be painful. We wanted this, we voted for it. But then when you guys see what it takes to get it, you're like, no, you know what? There's a better way. And the thing is, there is not really a better way. Again, you're giving people free food, free hell, in some cases, millions of dollars via fraud. And you think people are just going to let that go and be like, oh, okay, you caught us. Let's get out of here. No, right? There, it's going to be a very painful process to get people who have been sucking the teat of the government out of the country. It's not going to be easy. And a lot of people in Washington and men in general that are right wing kind of understand this and they're like, hey, yeah, it's not going to be a pretty process, right? We would love for people to just self-deport. We would love for this not to be a problem, but sometimes solving a problem requires a lot of violence, right? And at the end of the day, uh, if you want a better country, a better economy, a better this or a better that, you're gonna have to crack some eggs to make an omelet. And right now, they don't want to crack the eggs. And when they see a couple eggs cracked, Now that being said, um, another thing that men understand is the laws of the jungle, especially at least men that don't look at the government or laws or rights as something that you just have. It's something you got to defend and something that you have based on certain circumstances, right? So if you're a criminal, you don't really have rights, right? That's to the average sane person. I'm like, hey, yeah, if you hurt somebody, you have rights, but you don't get to use your rights to get out of punishment, right? That seems sane. So for me, at least, I follow the laws of the jungle. And one of the things about the red pill and also about dating in general is that laws of the jungle really apply, right? The guys want to use their morality to like date women and engage with women. Like, if I'm a good guy, I will attract good women. I'm like, no, that's not how it works, right? As a matter of fact, the more selfish you are, more women of all whatever moral shade you find, they will all like you because all women are women and they like hot guys, right? And right now we're living in a society where be like women no longer need us, so that what else is left? And that is being hot. So they prioritize being hot over your honorable, self-sacrificial desire to give them free stuff. So same thing with ICE, same thing with this situation, right? There is no honor here. There is no doing the right thing here. There is laws of the jungle. If you go out and mess with the guys with guns, there's no good outcome. Minimum, you'll get screamed at and pushed back. Maximum, you'll sadly lose your life. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I come from a Latino family, and this is something my dad taught me. Now, there is a theory or a thought that people of higher socioeconomic class have more trust in authority, meaning that they don't believe that authority will go to this extent to hurt them. And that's why the people that you see here are probably white people, right? And not to make it about race, but white people are kind of like associated with higher up socioeconomic class, at least as a starting point. Whereas, like in my family comes from Dominican Republic, and they were very poor. We're doing great now, but we understand that if you mess with authority, they can hurt you and end up killing you, right? We don't go out and agitate authority just for the fun of it, because we understand, like, hey, if we they have a gun, and I don't trust them not to use the gun. Whereas, people of higher socioeconomic class trust them to not use the gun, and this is where that happens. So at the end of the day, like, hey, I'm not saying, like, I'm not a legal expert. I am not a firearm expert. I am not a you know criminal expert or nothing, none of that, right? I'm not a psychology expert, none of that, right? But from my standpoint and understand the laws of the jungle, um, you, you put yourself in a situation where the outcome was your outcomes were more negative than positive, and bad thing happened, right? And as much as I want to feel sorry for people who do that, I can't, because my whole life I've had to abide by laws of the jungle. by, hey, cause and effect, by probabilities, right? So right now, I just drove my girl to her house, right? What are the laws of the jungle say? If I would have done it yesterday, I could have gotten into a wreck. Maybe my job wouldn't have been happy that I used the company truck to do something. So I had to be like, okay, let me wait until other people are on the road and I can see the asphalt on the road and not just a white 3 inches of packed ice. So I followed the laws of the jungle, right? Laws of the jungle states that, hey, when I go out with a girl, that she has lots of access to men and no one's telling her it's a bad idea to do that. As a matter of fact, she's being encouraged. So I got to understand she's texting other dudes or if this date goes bad, she might go back to another dude. And I know that's messed up, but laws of the jungle. So follow the laws of the jungle and you'll be fine in life. I know a lot of people want to, kind of rely on morality to get by. I'm like, yeah, you can with people that care about you, like your parents, your friends, your pastor, I guess, your boss, people in your circle. They have a certain level of morality because they treat you based on social rules and they want to do the right thing most of the time, right? You can sort of rely on that. Like I know that if I'm stuck out in the road, that I have friends here that will rush out to come pick me up and help me jump my car, right? So, yeah. We're gonna react to this video. I found a video where a woman is blabbing on about something. Let me see. All right. All right. Let's see. Nothing's on the screen. Okay. All right. And we're gonna blow this up. All right. Why women are going hard, right? And this is the whole explanation why women are putting themselves in harm's way. So, hey, we got a new member. Thank you, sir. I don't have a new member thing, but you know what? I'll give you the $5 shrimp special, the $6 shrimp special.
Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. $6 shrimp special!
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Lee, for becoming a member. I appreciate it. All right. So, all right, cool. Let's play this and let's react.
I have figured out though, like why they're so they're so scared of liberal women and like why we're so activated is because like we've been waiting for this fight.
Does anyone feel confident that this woman is this does this video show that she's confident in this statement, right? She's literally whispering. You see, female confidence is kind of mostly BS. She's saying, "Oh, we're tired," but look at the voice she's using. Scared. Look at the body language, shrunken body language. Right. As a guy that, if you get good with women, you also get good with body language. Right. You start getting really good at hand placement and tilt of the head and all that stuff. Right. So in this video, you have a woman telling you, "Hey, we're tired and we're gonna take the fight to the streets to these armed men." Right. But she says it whispering and she says it um, with a nervous look on her face, right? And a very shrunken, small body language, right?
Forever, like finally, like all the stuff we've stomached, Roe vs. Wade being overturned, like all the BS about like women's rights and our bodies and our autonomy and like no fault divorce. We have been stewing for years. It's in our blood, centuries. So yeah, we're I guess a dog with a bone. Yeah, we're not letting it go. And women who are angry and been angry for a while, yeah, they're scary. I'm so mad and excited.
The thing is, for the most part, guys, she is right. Let me get this out of here. For the most part, guys, she is right. Women are scary, or women have a lot more agency than men do now, but it's not physical because right now, physical agency is punished quickly, right? Like you saw the guy that got shot, sadly, he uses physical agency and it ended pretty quickly. And, Renee Good used her physical agency and it ended pretty quickly. Women have different form of agency, right? That is using our empathy against us, which is feminism. It's the strategy. It's using our sense of empathy against us for them to gain power, right? So as she's in a nice, comfortable home, living a very comfortable life, and that did not require a man to get. She's probably single. I hope she is. I don't want any man to deal with that. But while still being nervous and not being convinced that what she's saying is something that should happen, uh, yeah, she doesn't know how good she has it. You can't. She doesn't know how good I have. Even I don't know how good I have it. Look, it's 1:36 p.m. and I'm at home talking about women. Like what? That's a privilege. I see that as it's great. However, she doesn't look confident. She doesn't look like she's the type of person that has any physical agency. However, she's using her other agency, which is shaming, guilt, and appealing to men's sense of empathy. So men will come to her side and be like, "Yeah, men ain't shit, right?" And they'll enact laws and policies and open jobs and do all this stuff to give women financial power, social power, and all that stuff. And now you have to, they think that they still have they become so arrogant and so out of touch that they go and attack people that are authority figures and then expect those people to just bow down, right? And the thing is, like, man, we understand violence, whether it be just a dude on the street or a guy with a gun. We understand that everything you say or do, you better watch it because there is a threat of violence. Because in the world, men own the world of violence, right? And even if it's against a woman, hell, there'll be times um I'm speaking to women and I've gotten hit, right? And it's scary. It's a scary situation, and you're just like, okay. And I'm not talking playful. I'm talking about like actual hit, where you don't know if it was playful or actually, hey, I'm really want to hurt you, and you don't know what to do, right? Your hands are tied, so you just remove yourself from the situation. So yeah, this is just an arrogant thing. Like, hey, we're going to you're going to attack you're going to attack men. Well, how is that a good idea? People are dying for this, right? And you're outnumbered and you're weaker and you don't have the spatial awareness, and these guys do not feel sorry for women anymore, right? So good luck. Like um why would you do that? Now, like Lee Silver saying, is it really believable? Does she believe herself? Absolutely not. She doesn't believe anything she's saying. She's trying to garner status amongst her other liberal friends, which is another part of this is why so many liberal people do these things, right? They want to gain status amongst the other liberal people, right? So if I am out there with my phone and I'm screaming, or I'm that weird guy that says "shoot me in the face," blah blah blah, it makes me look cool. I get better standing in the group I'm part of. It makes me look like, hey, see guys, see, I'm one of you guys. I swear, right? It's just what people do it in cults all the time, and ultimately, it's just signaling to each other, and that signaling sometimes ends in death, as you've seen. Yeah, all politics are gendered because when you guys look at the big when you guys look at the big picture of politics, right? Men and women have these innate differences, and men, like, we believe in hierarchies. We believe in, hey, the most competent, best leaders are at the top, and we want to vote for those people. We want them to lead us. We want them to be in charge. And then the people that are down below that aren't leaders and are incompetent, we don't want them in charge of much, right? That's why, both men and women, we constantly criticize the competence of male political leaders. As a matter of fact, it's a joke now, right? Women do not see society the same way. They see it. That's why socialism is like a female concept. It's men would go out and kill the woolly mammoths or the deer or whatever, and they come back, and women would divvy out the meat and cook it and divvy out the meat to everyone. So if you were a older child, you get more meat. If you were younger, and they would ration it out, right? Whereas and the hunters get the biggest piece because they actually hunted it. So they see this immigration thing as like, hey, let's let these people in, right? They deserve a chance too. Um, and men we were always in charge of guarding territory, right? That's why our we have so much testosterone and much more muscle and strength, because our job as men was to guard territory. It is who we are as men. And that's why we have spatial awareness. That's why we can parallel park better and throw baseballs and stuff, because we were designed to be war machines and defenders. and guard the perimeter. Women were not. So women don't um women being the first line of defense or the people we have to check in with when we have an immigration policy ends in stuff like this. Ends in riots, ends in what's going on in Europe. Like ask Jack what's going on in Europe right now, right? And they don't see the second or third order effects. Like they're like, yeah, let them in. They're good people, and then they suffer the consequences downstream, right? Like, and the thing is, this has been going on for a long time, and it almost seems like no one pays attention or can draw a connection. Like right now, I saw a report that 500,000 people were being let into are about to be let into Spain, 500,000, right? And once you're in Spain, you can go anywhere in the EU, right? It's really easy. And no one can make the connection like, "Hey, why did that guy shoot up the Ariana Grande concert?" Or, drive through a whole thing of an Ariana Grande concert, right? Why is this whole park square or this whole city square turned into a market for Somalis, right? And why do these people hire each other and buy houses for each other and live with each other and support each other, right? They can't make that connection. So here we are, guys. Here we are at um we are at this level of misunderstanding or like, hey, what's going on? It's all this is all politics are gendered. And you may think, well, there's men on that are liberals. And I'm like, yeah, well, remember two things. Men are raised to be defective women. They believe that if they think like women, that's the right way of thinking. Being incredibly empathetic, like suicidal empathy, is the right way to be. Being like a woman is the right way to be. Right? Letting people stomp all over you, letting people take from you is good because you're already privileged, right? But and the other thing is men want to make women happy. We don't want to be seen as mean by women. We want them to accept us and love us and treat us awesome. So when men see that women want this, they're like, yeah, I want it too because I want women to accept me. So there you go. That's why we're in this space or in this place to begin with, right? So at the end of the day, you are now dealing with this, and this is all politics gendered. It, everything. And I know we don't always want to see every little thing on earth through a red pill lens. It really isn't always that. There are things that we can be a little bit lenient on. Like, can we really be mad at women that are 18 that vote for liberal policies? They don't know better. They're 18, right? However, can we blame women attacking ICE officers, thinking that there's some level of immunity they have, or that this misplaced trust and that a man will never hit them? Can we blame them? Yeah, they're adults, right? They take actions and they're adults. So when it comes down um, to if we go to brass tacks and we go to really look at the issue here, it's that this is not a battle of morality. It's not a battle of right versus wrong. This is a battle of women's thinking and men's thinking. It's really what it boils down to. If you want, if you want to win, you have to. This has to become an amoral thing, and that's people aren't ready for that, right? Every time men do something bad, even the most dead set on fixing this, they all sit down and they have to explain to everyone with kid gloves why we're doing this, right? Look at the press conferences. Like, we have to be careful what we say. We have to, because we don't want people's feelings to get hurt. But the truth is, I'm like, hey, it is what it is. There's illegal immigrants and you're in the way. So these guys are stressed. These guys are getting their lives threatened. These guys have an X on their back. So cause and effect, get in their way, bad things will happen. I'm not saying that anyone deserves it, but laws of the jungle still apply. Laws of the jungle still apply. So yeah. Let me see. It looks like a comfy middle class woman flexing on the internet. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The higher socioeconomic status you have, the more you trust authority. Right. So in her saying that, oh, I'm going to take the fight to the guys with guns and all that stuff, that's just showing, hey, I'm upper middle class. I trust authority not to hit me, beat me, and arrest me, right? And that's why when it does happen, they can't freaking believe it. I, I know. You ask a random black person, would you get in a cop's face? Absolutely not. No. Ask a Dominican guy, hey, let's go mess with those ICE agents. No. I know what happens. I don't trust the authority not to beat the shit out of me. But people of higher socioeconomic status are like, hey, no, we got to get in their face, and they'll walk away, or we'll teach them a lesson. I'm like, no, the laws of the jungle. So yeah. Yeah. Renee Good thought she used her physical agency mixed with her female way of thinking, and we know what happened. Right. If physical agency and female thinking is not a good mix, right? Because she had physical agency because she was in a car, right? And hey, even when I'm like slowly backing out of a spot or there's people around, I'm going like 1 mile per hour, so no dogs or kids jump in front of my car. So if there's people close to my car, I'm just like, let me put it in park, right? So I don't accidentally hit the accelerator and hurt somebody, right? So yeah, yeah, yeah. And demographics shift like that. It's neither wrong nor right, but it's happening. What's the Chris Rock clip? Follow the law. Yeah, follow the law. Follow the law. That easy, guys. A daytime, yes, guys. Daytime nuke stream. I was just at home at my computer, so let me take a quick break. Guys, if you would like to super chat support the show, please do. Let's take a quick break, and I'll be back. All right, I found another good video for you guys. It's about 2 minutes and 47 seconds. But yeah, so so let me bring it up. Let's see. Share screen. All right. Let's open this up. All right. So let's see what this woman has to say.
But if you want to put it in a single sentence, you could say,
Can you guys hear it? Hold on. Let me make sure you guys can hear it. Share screen. All right, let's
that feminization equals wokeness. Everything you think of as wokeness is simply an epiphenomenon of demographic feminization. Think about all the things that wokeness means. Valuing empathy over rationality.
There you go. She's right in that, like valuing empathy over rationality, right? We know as men that when we open a gate, even if there's decent people that want to make a life here in the United States, that we cannot sustain that. There is not, America is some kind of bottomless pit of money where we can be giving it out, right? Because now my stakes are too expensive and I can't buy a house, right? I'm a middle class working guy. So, I mean, I can, but like the average guy can't buy a house. So they're like, no, but we got to help them. I'm like, yeah, but it won't, at what cost, right?
Safety over risk, conformity and cohesion over competition and hierarchy. All of these things are privileging the feminine over the masculine.
That's what we talked about. We value hierarchy and competition, uh, competence, where women value everything. Everyone gets a little bit. Everyone gets a piece. Everyone gets support and all that stuff. So
So if you have ever wondered why wokeness appeared out of nowhere when it did, that is my hypothesis, that all of the institutions that began admitting women in the 1970s eventually got enough women that they were able to reorient them.
exactly, it's all politics are gendered.
For example, women are consistently less supportive of free speech than men in surveys asking which is more important, protecting free speech or preserving an inclusive society.
And this is one of the reasons we can't have women in political discussions, or we can't have women like this is the reason why there's a TOS, right? Like the only big change on 4chan that really was a big change on 4chan in terms of like modding the site was that hey, there was illegal child, you know what, and they had to immediately fix that, right? I'm still scarred from when I saw an image on 4chan when I was like 16 or 18, and I'm just like, so I never went to that board again. But they had to fix it because that's like the extreme. But other than that, you can say whatever you want, do whatever you want on that site, right? Besides like anything legal, because they had to protect themselves. Uh, the guys who run the site, right? So yeah.
Approximately 2/3 of men say free speech, and approximately 2/3 of women say inclusive society. In moral reasoning, the traditional way of phrasing the difference between men and women is to say that women have an ethics of caring and men have an ethics of justice.
And there you go, guys. That explains this whole ICE situation, right? Women and feminized men care. Men want justice. They want to do the right thing. So
In making a moral judgment, men will ask, what are the rules and what are the facts?
that's why it's easier for me to look at the situation from a non-emotional point and like, what are the rules? Hey, that kid has an illegal immigrant father in this country. So what's better, separate the kid from the father or send the kid back? I think, hey, put the kid with the dad and then send them back home. That makes sense. It's not, I see a crying baby with a little, uh, I think stuffed animal. Yeah, I'm going to be like, that's sad, but rules are rules. Women are just like, how could they?
Women tend to be more interested in context and relationships. So let's apply that to wokeness. When James Damore wrote his famous, or I should say notorious memo for Google, arguing that female underrepresentation in the hard sciences might not be the result of bias and prejudice, no one even attempted to argue that he was wrong on the facts.
So yeah, back in the day, like women didn't like science and engineering. No one was like, "Whoa, that doesn't make sense." They just said, "Yeah, women prefer being nurses or doing stuff that involves people rather than things." You got a $5 super chat from Alex Patino. You get one of these, sir.
Thank you so much, best friend!
Alex Patino with the $5. I know women empathize and want everyone to have a peace. Well, let me tell you, once those women become mothers, just look how selfish they become. Yeah. Um, Women when they become mothers, that empathy gets all funneled back into the kids, right? I think that's why a lot of conservative guys are like, hey, if women had kids, things would be better, blah blah blah. Maybe it's not so much of the birth rates, because it would kind of put things in perspective for them. And for what it's worth, like, I don't care what women do, but to me, when I see that, like, how women even stop taking care of their dogs or put their dogs up for adoption, um after they have a kid, how all that empathy for everything. A lot of women become right wing after having kids, or become more moderate at least. They drop the politics stuff because all that misplaced empathy goes back into the kid, and they realize what's important, my kid, not people 1,000 miles away that would hurt me or swindle me if they had the chance. So yeah, that is very important. That's a very good observation, Alex.
The reason that he was fired was because the things he had written might make his female coworkers feel bad. Or consider the Kavanaugh hearings. The masculine position was to say that maybe something bad happened to you, but if you do not have evidence, then we can't allow you to ruin a man's life and career over it.
And this is the thing about public cases, and even the Diddy case, where we saw that, yeah, the woman that Diddy was involved with all those years was complicit, but immediately women automatically felt like she was the victim and that she had to get protected. And I was just like, well, the evidence came out that she was super, not only complicit, but just as demanding and just as angrily telling people to participate in their freak offs as he was. And not only that, while dating her now husband and father of her kids, she was still in contact with Diddy. So
The feminine position was to say, how can you talk about rules of evidence? Can't you see she's crying? Now, to be clear, many women were revolted by the way the Kavanaugh hearings played out. In fact, the very best book on the Kavanaugh hearings was written by two women, Molly Hemingway and Carrie Severino. But a political system in which men predominate will tend to operate according to rules of facts and objectivity, and one in which women predominate will tend to operate by the rules of emotions and subjective facts, even if there are individual men and women who fall on the opposite side of those camps.
So when you guys see now that all these right-wing women, supposedly right-wing women, are complaining, or even what's his name, the Penguin Zero guy, who is himself, kind of like a liberal, um, what they're saying is, hey, uh, I believe emotion matters more than rules and facts. And here's what we do as men. When we see a tragedy like that, we're like, wait for the evidence, wait for the investigation. So every masculine person, right? Um, that is dealing with this case, every masculine leader, let's say like Thomas Homan or Donald Trump or vice president or the leader of Border Patrol, right? They all say the same thing. Let's wait for the evidence. Let's wait for an investigation because to them, before we put a guy's life, put a guy away or ruin what we've done, we have to have facts and evidence. For women, it's like, but there's a baby and he's alone. Ice bad. And we're like, wait a minute. What did that baby do? We're like, what what did the baby do? Oh, well, he was born to an illegal immigrant. I'm like, yeah, well, there it is. Rules are rules. Right? And it's just like rules don't matter to women. And guys got to understand that. And that's why it's so hard politically to side with them or deal with them. And even if they did side with us politically, we don't even want them to side with us politically because that means they're not very feminine. You see what I'm saying? It's just like so yeah. I think that's the whole video. Yeah, that's the whole thing. So um let me just quote tweet this. Let me get this out. But you guys get it, right? And uh, wait, let me tweet this real quick. How's everyone doing today, by the way? How's everyone dealing with the storm? Okay, there we go. Now there was another video I saw on YouTube, right, where it was some very right-wing um pro-Trump supporter on a Fox News, I think it was, and then she was completely denouncing ICE, blah blah blah, right? And so I'm saying, like, even people that are 100% on board with this see these images and they can't help, and that speaks to the feminine biology and the way they see things, right? So, yeah, I got that reference. Yeah, Charlie, that guy. He's like, "Oh, this should make you mad," blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm not mad. That's the thing, right? Let me see if I find the video. Hey, maybe it's in my history. Let me check. Give me a second, guys. Matter of fact, let's take a quick break while I search for it. All right, so I found the video, and it's let's see. It's 14 minutes, but we'll skip through it. I won't take up too much of your guys' time. I know you guys got things to do today. So, all right, so here's the video, and it's basically pondering politics. They seem like a left wing or fake moderate, whatever, podcast or YouTube channel, but here, so MAGA Fox host screams at Kash Patel over ICE shooting. Right, you're gonna see women, even the most devoutly supportive of Make America Great Again and Donald Trump, kind of like losing it over this, right?
Out of the second brutal murder of an American citizen in Minneapolis at the hands of the Trump regime, something very interesting happened this morning on Donald Trump's favorite TV network, which should absolutely terrify him. MAGA Fox.
Okay, this guy's definitely left wing. He's definitely left wing.
News/Fox business host Maria Bartiromo, one of the biggest Trump supporters in the Fox orbit, is freaking out and losing her shit, not just on Republican members of Congress like James Comer, but Trump administration officials like FBI Director Kash Patel, pushing back on the Trump administration and the Republican.
It's the glasses, Chico. They never lie. That's funny.
Regarding this murder. And when you lose Maria Bartiromo, you've definitely lost the American people.
Sure,
before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, folks, we have several clips to play here, and I want to start with Maria Bartiromo engaging with James Comer, the Republican leader of the House Oversight Committee, and then I've got several clips to show you from a slightly earlier interview this morning with FBI Director Kash Patel. But let's start with Bartiromo and Comer here.
So I don't care what's really said in this video. I just want you guys to know the context. This woman is a very pro-Trump woman on Fox, and this guy is a Republican. I think he's a representative. He's a congressman, right? So you guys will see.
Another individual is dead at the hands of Border Patrol. Let's be clear. We do not know if there was any pushback from this individual who was armed. We do not have evidence that he was waving a gun, doing anything to threaten Border Patrol. He had his phone and he was shooting. He was viewing and recording the incident. That's what he was doing, recording the incident. Mm-hmm. What is your reaction? And you are an elected official. What can you do about it?
Well, look, I don't think there's any question a majority of Americans want President Trump and ICE to go in and apprehend the.
Just want to know something here. Do you hear how outraged she is? Do you hear how painful?
So this guy's kind of a lame, but for the most part, guys, you see, she's supposed to be pro-Trump. She's supposed to be like, hey, yeah, 100% immigration. She just makes it just the way that men carry this out. Her dream of deportation makes her feel icky. Now, listen, does she know what violence is? Has she gotten punched in the face? Probably never. Has she ever shot a gun? Maybe once at a range. She's never had to shoot a gun at a person. She's never received gunfire as a woman. She knows that seeing people get hurt and shot makes her feel bad, right, as a woman, because she has empathy. Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? So this is why she's crashing out. Now let me see, skip ahead. Now she's like talking to Kash Patel, which is the director of FBI.
And the FBI is processing the physical evidence, so we're in possession of the firearm, which is going to go to our laboratory. But as Secretary Noem said, No one who wants to be peaceful shows up at a protest with a firearm that is loaded with 2 full magazines.
And there you go, guys. That is the whole rules are rules and cause and effect and logic part of this, right? This is it right here. These two people are the same political party. These two people are both huge supporters of Trump, whether one of them works for him and the other one basically is a mouthpiece for the Trump administration, right? Is a full on supporter. Both of these people voted for deportations and are actively in some way or another participating in helping that administration deport. But there's a difference here, and the difference is gender. And listen, guys, as much as we want to be like, what's the right thing? What's morality? We understand that in man's world, it's not so much about right and wrong. It's about like rationality, rules, right? The rules are the rules. And the rules say if you mess with the guys with guns, you get hurt. Something bad happens.
There's nothing about that said anywhere. There's no these Second Amendment shall not be infringed, and we gotta don't get
All
to
right, this
tell
guy's
me
such a landless
Browers. It is true. And again, Maria Bartiromo, to her credit, pushes back on this shit.
Charge to arrest those.
But how was he threatening Border Patrol? You've collected the evidence, you said, right? You have the handgun in your possession?
That's right.
And how was he using that handgun in terms of threatening Border Patrol?
He wasn't.
Listen, if you go with a loaded gun to a police protest or an ICE protest, or you're just yelling, antagonizing, right? Making noises, right? As a man, you kind of look at that, even a man that's moderate, be like, hey, that wasn't the smartest thing. And everyone was like, but he didn't do anything wrong. And I'm like, it's not about, like, again, rules are rules. And we as men, we trust authority. We trust authority because authority is the people with guns, regardless if they're good or bad. We don't mess with those people. That's it. Bottom line. So
the gun was holstered in a small of back holster on his waistband. He had a where he went, in Pretty successfully.
His camera, right? He was filming it.
That's something that I will let the DHS and the prosecutors, because they are the ones investigating that case.
Do you hear this shit? He's like, you can't go around threatening law enforcement agents with a gun. Okay, well, how is he doing that?
This will end thanks to President Trump's brilliant leadership to always back the blue. Law enforcement.
He doesn't back the blue. Again, this is violence. These people are not serious at all.
I mean, thousands of people are marching through Minneapolis. They are targeting the Border Patrol. I mean, it feels like the rhetoric and the protesting is only ramping up. What is your advice to the people right now who are outraged that this is a second killing at the hands of Border Patrol in 2 weeks?
As Christy said, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want.
You can. You have it.
Sorry, Mike was off. You guys get the point, right? You see where they're it's two different languages they're speaking. Right? They're speaking two completely different languages. And this is why, guys, we have this culture, this ecosystem of manosphere people or right-wing people or religious people or people that use the red pill as their brand to argue with women, to try to reason with them based on using their own set of morality and gender-based morality. And guys, women use the language of emotionalism, right? She's trying to say, oh, well, again, would you tell your son, your brother, your friend that it's a good idea to bring a gun to a protest? You wouldn't, right? Because we know violence. We know what things could happen. We know that even if they mean well, things can be misunderstood and misconstrued. These people are stressed. These people have an X on their back. Even if you don't like them, they're You know, leave them alone. And if you, what's the outcome we want? Less death, right? So if you leave, it's obvious that if you let people be alone and stress people with guns, you leave them alone, less people die, right? It's pretty much 1 + 1 = 2. But she's arguing like, but they died, and I'm makes me sad. I'm like, okay, well, they died. So there's so much respect for a lot of these debaters that debate with women, and I'm like, we don't here as repro content creators, like we don't really see that as useful because of this. What did this achieve? These two people agree with everything, right? It's just I don't like the way men are doing their job, right? Yeah, exactly. Look at your life. You've never been shot at. You've never been hurt by an illegal immigrant. You've never been at gunpoint. You've never suffered. You make a lot of money, so you can buy a house. Like it doesn't affect you, but it affects everyone else, right? So, yeah, if we argue with women, nothing they use a different language. Their language is emotionalism, and our language is rationalism, logic, logos, right? And even if they bring out stats are stupid. Where did you get the stats? Can the study be replicated, right? Is it even real? When was it made? What was the method? Qualitative? Hey, asking women their opinion on things, that's not science. What women say means nothing. Look at what they do, right? So, what a waste of time this is, right? To think that first off, this goober right here, to think that he thinks that a woman feeling emotional over a death of a man, it means anything. It doesn't, right? It's just their innate biology. Women, before they are right wing, before they are left wing, before they are uh, political or anything, they are women. It always has to go through the women filter first. They have to do this because their survival depends on their reputation. So if they say the wrong thing, and on top of that, they have empathy for the weak and downtrodden. That way, when the best hunters would get hurt, they would feel sorry for them and care for them and get them back on their feet. When their children were sick, that's what women's job is. Now women have political power and a voice. And now for people that want to hurt us and hurt our women and hurt the economy and rob and steal and all that stuff, they feel empathy for them, right? We're telling them why. Why? They're people too. They're trying to make a living. I'm like, listen, they're not, you know. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, I think that's all I have for now. I have a new video out. Uh, I put my video of my rule 0 on 16 commandments of Poon, and I put it in Notebook LM, and there's a quick normie breakdown. It's pretty interesting to see AI be able to break down one of my videos pretty well. But it's on YouTube if you guys want to watch it. It's my latest video. And other than that, guys, nice talking to you guys. Thank you for the super chats, and I'll see you next time.